Hey again, thank you for watching. So in this video I would like to tell you where I am coming from. Well, I come from Amsterdam, but that's not what I mean. I mean where I come from in life, because I know you sometimes may be looking at people online that you don't personally know and you think like, oh, they got their whatever the thing is they're sharing about totally together. They've always been this way. This is not for me. I want to tell you that I have lived most of my life very disconnected from myself, very disconnected from my true self. It is only 3.5 years ago that everything changed, and I'm sharing this because I want you to know that wherever you are in life, and no matter how challenged you feel, no matter how shit the things are that are happening in your life, I really want you to know that you can get out of that wherever you are. How serious it is, I promise you. I'm not gonna say that I had the most challenging story, but I can tell you because I've seen this and the people that we've worked with. I've seen people that are suicidal, that have been abused, really abused, and that have far worse stories than I have experienced in my life. But everyone can get back to themselves. Everyone, no matter how challenging it is. So I would like to tell you my story. Who was I? I was this very ambitious little eigenwijs girl from Holland that started her modeling agency at age 21 and then had this idea, I'm gonna be this amazing successful entrepreneur, and I just worked really hard and I was nominated for all these entrepreneur awards because I was so young and it was amazing. Things flowed and I wanted to be this independent woman, so I didn't take a loan, I didn't work with investors, which was great. I'm still very happy I never did, but I started to work really hard to get there, which is still great. I learned a lot, but then things happen in life. At one point I was working really hard without having a real sense of purpose, without really knowing where I was going. My love life was very challenging for me at the moment. I was in a relationship with a man whom I thought was my dream man, but our relationship ended up very beautifully, like amazingly beautiful, but it ended up being very toxic for, I guess, the both of us, but very damaging for myself. It was very damaging for me, for the little girl inside me. She was completely torn apart from everything that has happened there, and then working so crazy hard for that company, and then my mother got sick. This was all happening in 2013 and everything was intensifying at the same time. I had no sense of self and no sense of self-connection at all. I was living life totally out of alignment. I was having heart palpitations. At first they just came up and at one point they were chronic. I was having hyperventilation, same thing. At first it was just moments of stress. I was hyperventilating. I just could not breathe into my belly until that became normal. The first moment I woke up, I felt a sense of peace for maybe half a second, and then I realized I was awake and boom, my breath was stuck. My heart started pumping again in my chest. It was not good, and it basically kept pumping in my chest so hard until I went to sleep, and I could only go to sleep using some meditation app or music because I was so stressed out. And that whole day I was running on adrenaline and cortisol and doing everything I could to get through that day and to get everything done. Life has certainly not been easy. When I was 5 years old, my father passed away. I know everything happens for a reason, and this did too. And at this moment I'm having a beautiful connection with him, not in a very regular sense, but both of my parents are in the spirit world, and it may be weird, but I can only say I'm very grateful for that, because they are such wonderful guides on my path. I guess all of us have lost loved ones. What I've learned is that death doesn't exist, that the love that you feel for those people never goes away. If people leave you when they cross over, they can and probably will start to guide you if they were close to you. I was very disconnected from myself because when I started in this modeling industry, and I've been working as a model myself for a few years, not as a fashion model but more as a commercial model, and doing some photo shoots and some work in the modeling scene and events and things like that. So my looks were making me money. It was my job, and I worked for companies that would even tell me when I got to work, like, where's your makeup? Is that all the makeup you're wearing? Because you really cannot go to the client like that. You need to wear a lot more makeup. Or that same agency telling me, you know, you're gonna do this photo shoot for this thing. I know this client likes big boobs and you don't have that much, so you better wear this big push-up bra, girl, when you go there, because I want to have a happy client. I'm not kidding. This is how I was raised work-wise. So my looks became important to me. Also, living in this modeling world, you are surrounded by beautiful women and beautiful girls all the time, and the more you are, the more insecure you get. It was very normal in that time to have hair extensions, eyelash extensions. So I've been having that. I had hair extensions, I've had eyelash extensions, I was dyeing my hair super blonde, I was wearing thick layers of makeup at one point, because first I was wearing makeup for work, and then I didn't find myself beautiful anymore without it. So I started wearing that much makeup every day until I didn't recognize myself anymore. And then this thing happens, I think many women can relate. When you wear that much makeup all the time, you go out on the street without, and people ask you, what's wrong? Are you sick? You look tired? So that only made things worse. Never ask a woman if she's tired. It's just don't. I needed a really big wake-up call, because all these things that were happening in my outer world are obviously always, as with anything, a reflection of my inner world. That wake-up call showed itself in the form of loss in quite some areas. So my mother was sick. She was diagnosed with cancer 2013. In 2014 it came back. We knew she was not going to live and she would die probably that year. That toxic relationship, which has been on and off, we split up for the 4th time, and this was really the last time, but it took me really a while and so much of my strength, so much of my willpower to not go back, because I always went back. It's like when you're addicted to the drama and the love, because don't get me wrong, there's also, and there still is, a lot of love for this person that won't ever go away. So 2014, my mother passed away. I was having the last weeks of her life when this relationship was indeed ending for the last time, and at the same time my main employee at my company quit her job and told me she was basically leaving in a few weeks, and her job was the most meaningful in the company, like she was the spill of the company. And it was also the same time I was walking around with my heart palpitations and my stress and my running around and with my still fakeness going on, not really knowing who I was. And I realized I hadn't spent time by myself for months that I could remember, apart from being in the shower or in the car off to work in the morning, and that was about it. My days were filled with work and social, so I had no idea who I was. I remember when in that time people asked me, how are you? Because a lot of people knew things were challenging. My answer would be, well, my mother just had this okay diagnosis and my sister is going well, and work, we had this great amazing new client, so I'm doing pretty good. Until someone asked me, yeah, I didn't really ask how all those other things are, how are you? I was like, well, I just told you. No, how are you? I was like, right, how am I? I honestly had no idea, because I had become the sum of my external surroundings. When everything was good with the people around me and the things around me, I was good. And when things around me were crumbling down, I was crumbling down. That was my reality. So things did really crumble down. Everything fell apart. Life was a big fucking mess. I was living together with my boyfriend at the time. Broke up, so I left, but I had rented out my own home, so I didn't have a place to stay. So I was sleeping at either my mom or friends in Amsterdam. That didn't always flow. Then she was really gonna go pass away. That colleague left her job. That's right. This moment was so typical. So I had a car. Like, my car was basically my anchor point, because at least I had my car, you know, I can move myself everywhere. So my colleague asked me like, hey, is the car available for some job the models have to go to Groningen, whatever. I'm like, sure, you know, they can take it. I could not think, I had no clarity at all, only to realize at 6 o'clock when I left the office that I had no home, and that I was basically living from my car and spending my life with friends, so that my whole life, my toothbrush, my clothes, everything was in the back of my car, and I had just given away that car. And it was 6 o'clock, it was becoming dark, and I'm outside in front of the office. I'm like, fuck, I didn't think of something, nowhere to go, nothing, like no home, nothing. It was a big mess. So I started to clear things up a little bit. I went with a friend to a seminar. This was October. It was on my birthday, and he gave me this book, The Power of Now, from Eckhart Tolle. And I remember thinking, well, this is so nice, but I really have no time in my life to read a book. Still, a few months later, I started to slowly, bit by bit, read parts of that book, and it was such a relief. I found this different reality, this different sense of self. I found that I am not my mind, I am not my ego, and it was such a relief. So basically everything fell apart, and I decided to go to Bali, something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've been working with a coach to go to Bali, and every time I've put this thing on the horizon, but I never went because I thought I didn't have the time. I can leave my company, I'm not making enough money and all that. But when my mother passed away, I was seeing someone in that time who was with me. We spent only 2 months together, but obviously it was very intense as he was there during the passing of my mother. And I remember in the morning I woke up and thinking, you know, I had to go through my day, all the things that I had to do, and I got a panic attack. It wasn't the first one that I had, and he was like, well, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, play music. I just needed music. So he played some music, and wow, I can still go back into that moment. Thank you, if you're watching, thank you. He's been there for me so much. I was listening to some music and I was calming down. He said, okay, Mai, this is it. You really need to hire someone for your company, like right now. You're not doing this any longer. I was like, yeah, but I don't have the money and I can do this and I don't know who. And well, maybe my best friend that I know she could do it. And he was like, you call her right now. You offer her a job right now. So I think still in the bed that morning I did, or I called or emailed her. I hired her to be the manager of my company so that I could take some time to, you know, my mother was dying, so we had to arrange his funeral. And then my sister and I, because we don't have a father anymore, we had to sell our elderly home, like the home we grew up in. So we had to go through that big house and clean up everything and then go see real estate agents to sell the house. And then I really wanted to go to Bali. So I hired her without having the finances to do it. Just trust. I didn't believe really in God or anything at that time, but I did believe in something. And I said out loud to that something like, you gotta give me something right here. This is not how I'm supposed to live my life. I know that for a fact, and I don't know how it's gonna look like and what is possible, but I know this is not it. So I'm just gonna trust that I'm gonna do this thing right now and that I will be supported. So I did, and it turns out I did have the finances, and somehow it worked itself out. So no, if you have this decision, you know you have to do it, you will be supported. You know, if you feel it's the right decision, if you feel there's no other way out, go. Go, you will be supported. So I did all that, went to Bali, and I left for a moment everything behind. Everything of who I thought I was, everything that I had built up, the reputation I had built up that I thought was so important for the success of my company. You know, that self-made young entrepreneur businesswoman that was showing her face at all these business events and networking here and there and always on fire. So I went to Bali without all these masks. A big thing for me was going without makeup, with my bare face, because I did not find myself beautiful without makeup. But I decided nobody knows me here, and I'm just gonna see how people react to me if they behave different. Because also I was a little bit used to getting things done, I think especially from men, with my looks, or because who I was, or because how I looked like, because this is what I became used to, you know, men that always wanted something else from you. It was just not coming from a beautiful motive. So also I was constantly getting this confirmation that my looks were important, so that's why I was so concerned with the outer looks. So I left all of that behind, basically as an experiment, so that I could get to know myself again as the girl without makeup, and that I could see with my own eyes if life would be different. And one of the things I noticed, obviously, is that people were still so friendly and so kind, and I still had so many beautiful connections. Like, looking back, I'm like, wow, that was really a thing for me, but it was. I let go of everything that I thought I knew of who I was. So I didn't present myself as, you know, I am this and I'm that. Instead, I was just more doing this, learning, observing a lot, observing the right people, observing people that had something that I wanted to learn from. I saw the people in Bali, and not necessarily the Balinese, but more the community that was living there. I saw something in their eyes and it was something that I couldn't grasp, that I couldn't understand. It was this sparkle or this glow that I can now see was a connection to self, a connection to source, people being awake. I had no idea what that was at the time. I just know whatever it is they got, I want some of that. So I'm just gonna learn from these people. So I hang around with them, I observed them, and I observed myself a lot. And I followed my intuition 100% everywhere I went. So from going to this yoga class, to doing this training with this person, to trying breath work, and I was trying raw vegan for a month. I'm like, why not? Let's do this and see how my body reacts to it. At that time I was not eating meat, but I was eating everything else. So yeah, switching to raw vegan was, I guess, quite a change, but it was very effortlessly, easily, and my body just loved it. And in that month I really started rebuilding myself. I have let go of so much. I have learned so much by basically showing up at this blank canvas. And then I found this new purpose. As I found myself, I found it was my path to guide other people and to facilitate the experience that I've had. And so I started the first inner beauty retreat ever. And oh my god, I can only tell you that has been one magic carpet ride from the beginning, with lots of synchronicities and flow and help from both physically incarnate people as to spirit guides and angels. My life has really been magical ever since. And I've let go of a lot of things. I've let go of quite some friendships that were okay or good, but were not serving me in my highest path. I let go of unhealthy habits. I continued being vegan because that felt really nice. Oh man, there's so many changes I made. I started implementing a spiritual practice. I committed to doing this specific type of meditation for half an hour every day, and that was basically the start of me having a spiritual practice. Life changed so much. Big time, big time, big time, big time. I started meeting people that were aligned with who I really am and who I want to be in this life, and who aligned with my soul essence. And oh my god, when those people start showing up on your path, I think that's the biggest blessing the universe, life can give you. I think this video is becoming a bit long. I just wanted to share with you shortly where I'm coming from this place of total disconnection, panic attack, chronic stress, hyperventilations, lots of makeup, fakeness, pretending I'm good all the time while I was actually feeling shit on the inside, but I just had no idea. All that to moving into a place of deep self-connection, inner peace, contentment, flow, deep, 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 deep gratitude for life, moments of pure bliss, radical self-growth. I just wanted to share this with you so that you know it's possible for you. Wherever you are, it's possible for you to create a better reality. And I would love to help you do that. So let me know if there's anything you would like me to make a video on. Please let me know in the comments, or send me a thing on Instagram, or join Inner Beauty Retreat. It's the most life-changing, transformational experience I know that exists on the planet. Honestly, at the moment I'm recording this video, we have over 100 people testifying that, who are all saying it has changed their life. They would go again. It was well worth the money. It exceeded their expectations and all that. And it's not for my benefit. It's for the benefit of the planet. I want to see everybody shine. Inner Beauty Retreat is one of my ways to make that happen. And obviously it's for myself as well, because everything is vice versa, right? Giving is receiving. So thank you so much for watching this. I truly hope my story in any way can be of inspiration. And I want to bless you. And I wish for you to live your dream life with the most beautiful people on your path. I wish you to be happy and healthy and radiant and shiny and peaceful. And I wish you to realize who you are, and to know that you find everything that you need in your inner world. And through that, create a magical outer world.